lovely and darling viewers, it's Jen here at Check Her Joy, and this time I am reviewing Once Upon Stilettos by Shanna Swendson. This is book 2 in the Enchanted Inc series. The first book is called Enchanted Inc. These follow Katie Chandler, who is a magical immune. So she lives in New York City, and there are wizards. Katie works for this magical company that creates spells and sells them to the magical population. However, most of New York doesn't realize that magic exists. The wizards tend to veil their spells, and their creatures like fairies and giants and gnomes try to disguise themselves so that they look normal. Katie, however, is one of the rare individuals called a magical immune who is not influenced by magic, so magic doesn't work on her. Nobody can cast a spell on Katie, but nobody can disguise what they're doing either. So people who may go around thinking they're invisible, Katie would see them. If a fairy is trying to disguise the fact that she's a fairy and hide her wings and try to look human, Katie will see the wings anyway. So she's incredibly valuable to the company she works at. As they're writing up contracts, Katie can see what they're actually signing. Somebody might try to hide an extra paragraph in there and some terms and conditions that maybe they wouldn't normally agree to. And it's also interesting because there is this rogue wizard, Idris, from book 1, who has started going off and doing his own magic. He used to work for MSI Inc. and he's causing chaos. They managed to defeat him at the end of book 1, but in book 2, it becomes obvious that there is a mole and somebody potentially working with Idris and the company. Katie, as magical immune, is assigned to figure out who the spy is. And there's crazy sleuthing going on in here. Katie gets to work very closely with her crush Owen, who is one of the wizards and who works in research and development. So there's definitely some cute romancy parts in this book too. But Katie's also dating somebody else, Ethan, who is a magical immune. So she's got a crush on one guy who she really wants to be with, but then the guy she's dating isn't so bad either. She could maybe fall in love with him. So they're trying it out. They're still very, very early in their relationship. And of course, magic is causing all kinds of chaos in Katie's life, both at work and at home. So this book takes place around the holidays. The first half of the book pretty much follows Thanksgiving and Katie's family coming to New York to see her. She's from a small town in Texas. And this is the first time her parents have ever been to New York. They're nervous about their daughter working here and just like muggers and stuff. And of course, Katie's caught up in what could potentially be a magical war. So things are actually way more dangerous than they know, but Katie needs to, not tell them about magic. The second half of this book gears up towards the company Christmas party. So throwing Christmas in there too. I also love Owen going into full spy mode. We find out he's really into spy novels, and so he gets really into trying to figure out who the spy is. They need to do it in the first place for security reasons, especially when they're dealing with magic, and some of this magic could be potentially dangerous. So you don't want it falling into a bad wizard's hands, but also just the schemes they come up with to try to trap the spy. And Katie becomes so instrumental in it because she's able to think outside the box. She wasn't raised in this magical community, and actually one of my favorite parts about the series is how normal Katie's thinking is and common sense is, and seeing stuff from a different perspective, and how valuable she is because of that. Oh yeah, throw into this book one more crazy thing that is happening, which is kind of spoilery, but is also mentioned in the book blurb on the back, so I don't think it's that big a spoiler. Fair warning. But Katie starts losing her immunity in this book. She can be influenced by magic. So the bad guys are coming after her, and Katie is supposed to be able to see the bad guys, but if they're invisible, she can't, so she's actually in tons of danger because they can influence her by magic by casting spells on her, or throwing fireballs at her, which normally wouldn't affect her. But Katie's all stressed out that she might lose her job, which is to be able to see through magic. So not being able to see through magic anymore, she could get fired. She doesn't know who she can trust and not trust. She doesn't know why she's losing her immunity. She doesn't know if somebody else is responsible for it, especially when you add in the spy factor, and the war with Idris that is starting to kind of building up. So things are dangerous, but I also think it's really interesting how Katie handles not having her immunity. and actually getting to see how spells work and what illusions look like. In book one, Katie couldn't see any of the illusions, but in book two, we get to see, how everybody else sees Rod. What does the company look like? What does it look like when somebody's talking to a gargoyle that isn't supposed to be there? So I also really loved that part, like getting to see what everyone else is supposed to be seeing. And of course, this also adds more hijinks and craziness into the story. This particular one is my favorite. It is cute and sweet, and I love the spy theme going on in it. I love how valuable Katie is, and her just common sense also plays a huge part in this. It's not just her ability to see through magic, because there are other immunes in the company, but the way that Katie can take charge and speak up and be awesome and amazing, but also she doesn't actually need to be able to do magic to be important, which I love about this entire series. So yeah, I definitely recommend Once Upon Stilettos and the entire series. Totally go read book one, Enchanted Inc, and I'll post my review to book one in the description below as well, and the other books once I review them. Peace out. I love you guys, and keep reading. Bye.